The first thing we want to talk about, right, when we're looking at moving forward and forward momentum, there are two ways to be oriented. There's outcome orientation and in the moment orientation. A lot of times, what can happen is we always, for example, outcome orientation, this is not what's on the slide. Outcome orientation is really looking to the future, going, what is it I want? And how will that feel, right? This is that manifestation. We first have to know what we want. And that's wonderful. It's great to know where we want to go, what we want, how we're going to feel, all of that stuff. But we can't live from that place all the time because we need to be in the moment taking action to get there. And so a lot of times we have to shift back and forth between the two. One is, do I have my goals and my ideals set up? Do I have belief systems that are coming up to block it, that are inhibiting me? But also, how do I get myself in this moment to go, what do I need to do right now to get there? And not necessarily looking at all the things I need to do, but right, what's that first best step for me to do? And does it feel overwhelming or does it feel like something I can accomplish? If it feels overwhelming, we need to break it down even smaller to the first step. And so we always want to keep checking in on outcome orientation. It's good to know, right? Because sometimes we're going to get so deep. Have you ever been so deep in a project that maybe it's been going on for like months, and then you go, oh my God, I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore. And you have to look at that big picture again. You have to zoom out to go, why am I doing this? What am I actually doing? And does that still align with what I want in my life? I know for me, when I started my spa back in New York, it was everything I wanted. And then you just get so deep in the nitty gritty day to day that like it kind of breaks you a little bit. And I had to look at myself to go, what am I doing? Like, do I really want to do this anymore? And like by 2020, 25, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I forgot why I wanted to do it. And so I had to go back to that to readjust my course forward. Now, as we readjust our course forward and we look at how to be in this moment right now, we want to make sure that the action that we're taking is coming from a genuine place. And there's a difference that I want to distinguish between action and reaction, right? Obviously, we all know reaction is we are reacting to something, right? And typically, when we're talking about a reaction, it happens immediately, right? It's that subconscious, like, ooh, hit that gets you right away, and we start, needing to be into action. And there's a lot of fear that can come up with that. And as we get that fear that comes up with that, we have to manage that and adjust. So, reactions are driven by pressure. They feel like I need to do something right now. Typically, behind it, there's a lot of fear. And listen, reactions are not necessarily a bad thing, but we tend to find when we do things, they're very impulsive. We're reacting from a place in the past, urgency, fear, worries, and it doesn't give us the ability to really sit with things and like calculate it out in an empowering way to make a choice. Reactions are not choice. And I think that's the most powerful thing I want you to hear, right? They are emotionally driven and they are urgent, they are tense, they're impulsive, and they lead to most of the time second guessing. Now, there are gut reactions and responses, right? What's the difference? A lot of people ask me between a reaction and intuition, where it's like, wow, my gut just told me to do it, so I did it. That's not a reaction. A gut feeling is something that feels so genuinely aligned and in tune with like you that the energy is different, right? That has a very what we call anabolic energy that is going to urge you forward. Reactions typically come from fear. And so that's a very different type of fear. And so a different type of energy. And so they're two different energies. So that gut, like innate, oh my gosh, this just feels so right. Very different energy. That's anabolic. The reactions coming from fear or what we call catabolic energy. And they typically lead to like blocked things and not great outcomes. So action, what is an action? Action has a moment of awareness first, right? Think of it as a choice that you're making. I am choosing to do this because I am aware of what I am doing. It's driven by choice. It's driven by This is the next step. It feels aligned. And alignment is so important because we want to make sure in our life that we are not just reacting to all the pressures and stresses that are happening around us. We want to be in line with what it is we're trying to manifest, create, design in our lives, who we want to be. And that is the most important part is that this is steady, right? It's this intuitional gut part that's like, yes, this is the right thing. That doesn't mean there's no doubt. Doubt is part of the process, but it is far you have weighed the doubt and are not reacting to it. You are making a logical choice. Certainty versus alignment. I think a lot of the times, as we're stepping into the unknown of what the future looks like, and again, as we go back into the subconscious mind, for those who are new to the class, your mind has two parts: conscious mind. Conscious mind is where your logic, your reason, your willpower, your deductive reasoning, it lives in your conscious mind, which makes up about arguably 5%. 5%, that's it, but we use it so much. The other 95% is your subconscious and unconscious mind. And this is everything from the moment you're born until today is learned through association. Now, your subconscious mind has no logic, it is purely reactive. It's the part of you that, if you have a fear of dogs and you see a dog, is going to respond with that fearful behavior. And so, what we look for in the subconscious mind is patterning. What the subconscious mind wants for you as a human is safety. It does not care, right? Think of yourself as an animal. Animals want to be safe. If they feel safe, they will move forward. If they feel safe or safer, they will test things out. They will push their boundaries. If they do not feel safe, they are going to have a fear response, a reactivity. So, what does the mind hate the most? It hates the most the unknown. And it hates the unknown because it doesn't know what to expect. It does not have certainty. It does not have a paradigm to apply to it. So the subconscious mind, let's say it's like, should I take this job or should I not take this job? We don't know. The subconscious mind is going to go wild over that until it has a level of safety to move forward with it or leave it alone. So typically, when we want to take action, right, when we want to start executing on our goals, or making decisions, we're looking for certainty. And this is a wonderful thing to want, but in life, is there ever certainty? So, what is certainty? Certainty feels like you need to know everything before you move. It's driven by control and it's trying to eliminate risk. Now, if you're playing a numbers game, that makes sense. You want to eliminate risk. Risk comes with reward, but it also comes with consequences. And so when it comes to safety, the subconscious mind is like, the more certain we can be, the better. But when we're talking about decision making, we're never going to get full certainty. And so we want to make sure that, is there a way, right? Certainty comes with fear, and we're trying to eliminate that fear. Is how can we live with fear, put it to the side, but move forward with a much more empowering thing of trust and alignment. And this is what we're looking for. We're not necessarily looking for certainty anymore. We're looking for alignment. And I talked about alignment just a minute ago, but alignment is feeling like knowing the next step, even without the full picture. It's driven by internal clarity, not the need for guarantees. And it's just intuitively feeling in your gut just that this is right. And it doesn't matter what the logical mind is saying, because the logical mind is that part that goes, yeah, but, right? And this is where I tell people you get stuck with indecisiveness. A lot of people I know, when I'm working with clients, people who suffer from indecisiveness will get jaw clenching, teeth grinding. It's like there's something that they're trying to decide between. And that's because it's a struggle between what you truly want and what you think you should. Again, there's that catabolic breaking down energy of, this is what I should do, because there's a belief system or a core value coming up that is inhibiting you. And so we want to know, it doesn't matter if you pick what you should do or what you want to do, it needs to be a choice. And so, first step is to step back and go, what is it I want? If I could have anything I wanted, what would it be? and let me get in alignment with that. And then let me go back to make a choice, an action, right? The action, right? As we go back to this, it has that a moment of awareness where it's like, what I want is this. And I think I can have that because this would feel good, even though I shouldn't do it because it might do X, Y, and Z. But you're going to make a choice, right? But first get aligned with yourself and then make the decision. And alignment is such a beautiful thing because, again, as we're going toward a goal, not there's a saying, not everything that's sparkly is gold. Not every opportunity that presents itself in your life is going to be what's meant for you in that moment. But a lot of us come from a place of fear where we're like, well, if I don't take it now, it's going to lose it. It'll never come back. Even though it's like, do you really want to wander off on a path that doesn't align with you just because it looks sparkly and might be good? Again, we always want to come from a place of alignment. Any questions so far? I'm just going to quickly tap over here. Oh, yes. Happy Monday, everybody, too. Thank you for saying that. It is Monday, and I love Mondays because I love teaching this class here with everybody. All right. If there are no questions, feel free to drop them in as we go. So, how do we take action from a place of a clear mind? And this is an energy. There's a class that I taught. If you go back, it's on the energy of leadership and stress. It was in the first 12 classes, but I'm going to really paraphrase it here. What you're going to see at the top, I've boxed these two out because they're stress states, but they are honest. If I take a snapshot of you today, if I take away all the stress and I channel your energy, I'm going to say, okay, let's do me, right? It's like today, I am someone who resonates at an opportunist energy. But when I am put under stress, I fall into these two energies. Now, each of these energies are going to go from action, a low action potential. As we move up in these energy frequencies toward the creator, we're going to have more and more action potential. So these, as we start the bottom, this is what we call these four, green to red, are what we call anabolic or catabolic energy, meaning the victim state. It does not mean you're a victim. It means that you are at the effect of the things that are happening in your life. The victim state typically comes with a lot of guilt, worry, fear, embarrassment, lots of heavy emotions. And when we go into this state, we have an ego energy that gets very high because it's all about me. I become very insular. I become very shut down. I do not want to take a lot of action, right? And this is a very high catabolic energy. And there's nothing, I always want to tell people there's no good or bad with these energies. They are just an energy. We need this state just as much as we need these higher ones as well. So in the victim state, we are able, the benefit is that we can process information. If we give ourselves space to do that without judgment, we can feel our feelies and learn what they're trying to help us do, teach us. And I always want to tell people the reason that the fighter state, this is where you're going to get fear, but it's much more empowering. It's moving you forward. It has a higher action potential because it's asking you to do something with it, right? It's like, I'm mad. I win, you lose. Like I'm fighting for what I believe in. There's energy that comes up with that, but it comes from a place of fear. Typically, there's also resentment, anger, and the fighter. That energy is either being projected at someone or towards self. So you can be really pissed off at yourself, right? Who has an inner critic that's a real jerk? I know I do. My inner critic is constantly telling me what a dumb I am and is constantly pushing me to be better. And so the goal in these moments, these are stress states. 90% of people, when they get stressed out, drop their energy into one of these two buckets. And you can go first become the victim, then get angry, and then drop back to victim. Or you can be the fighter and then drop to victim. It can go however, but typically these are this energy states and that we need to check in with. So the reason that I want to teach this is When we are looking to create action right now in a place of uncertainty, we want to raise our energy up so that we can move forward and make choices from a place of good mental standing, not from a place of fear, right? And you're going to see that I guarantee you, if you start playing around with this, you can listen, right? Victim and fighter are going to have very reactive energy. Those choices you make are going to be very reactive, right? You get an email from your boss, and the victim's going to go, yeah, it's all my fault. I'm not, it's all my fault. I'm going to take complete ownership of this, even though it's not my fault. The fighter's going to go, well, I'm just going to tell him how it is and I'm going to react to this. These aren't coming with a good amount of like clarity to step back and rationalize it, maybe. Right. And so, what we want to do is to ask yourself, can I pull myself up? I call the rationalizer state more of a stepping stone to the higher energy frequencies, because to rationalize, you can rationalize anything, right? Like I know I can rationalize the craziest things in my head just to get out of the energy and the horrible feelings and emotions that come up with the energy stress states below it. So rationalizer, it's okay because it does take the intensity out, but let's use that to sort of get to a baseline that's neutral and then begin to move higher and higher of like the caregiver energy. The reason caregiver is not higher frequency in terms of making decisions is because you're not in the picture. It's saying the caregiver energy is, it doesn't matter about me. What do you need? Right. And it's putting the good of everybody over yourself. You're not even thinking about what you need. Right. This is in some way parental energy. It's like, it's also customer service energy. It doesn't matter what I want. What do you want? And that's why it's still in the lower frequencies of like having catabolic energy is part of it. But what we want to do is start bumping up into these higher, lower ego states to the opportunist. Again, the opportunist has, this is where you start getting into that really positive anabolic energy. The opportunist is going to say, this is all happening for me. What can I learn? What are the opportunities here to grow and develop? And what is this trying to show me? There's growth within this energy. The visionary is sort of like, wow, we're all flowing and vibing together. Your intuition is guiding you here. And then the creator state is pure bliss. Again, it's very hard to sustain the creator energy, but you'll feel it when you know you're in such perfect harmony and alignment. And again, you're going to bounce around into all these different energy states all the time. So that is normal. Like 1 minute, you're going to be like up in the visionary, and all of a sudden, you're going to get pissed off. So again, that is normal. It's just you want to look at, where am I right now, and where in these do I need to be to make a decision that would feel very aligned with me, and what would that sound like in my mind to get there? Because the more that we can do that, the more we can start taking action, right? We know when we start going up into the visionary, caregiver, opportunist, visionary, your action potential changes. And that's because what's happening is that each of these energy levels will always have a thought and an emotion that couple together that lead to an action or inaction we take. And I know we've talked about this before, but I want to encourage you to play around with, right? When I'm in the victim state, for example, the thoughts like, why bother? I'm only going to lose, or I'm only going to like mess it up. And that comes with a lot of guilt. And that comes with a lot of sadness. And then my action that I take, actually, I take no action. I prefer to stay quiet and where I am. So inaction. But let's look at it from the caregiver. What if the energy came with, well, it would make someone else, it would really help my mom out if I did this for her. That emotion would come with love. And my action would be, I would get up and do whatever I needed to do for my mom, right? That's a very different change. But again, it doesn't take into account what I need. So you're going to see how, as you go up, these thoughts and emotions change a lot. Your goal and the tool that you can use here is to go back and go, what thought do I need to have to be in alignment with what it is I'm feeling, or, what is the energy of alignment, it would feel really empowering, right? Empowering. That would be my word I would pick, right? So, does the thought that I'm having for this decision feel empowering, or does it feel otherwise? And does that feel good? Does that feel aligned? And so that's how we want to start making choices. And I call this our inner compass, right? The more that you begin to know what it is you want, why you like it, what about it fuels you, what that outcome will feel like when you get it, the more aligned and alive you're going to be, right? The more that we have boundaries, the more that we can protect ourselves with those and really live in a genuine, authentic way, the better our life begins to feel. It can be disappointing to others because, again, we're showing up very differently, and that might not be what they expect or want from us. But this is important living. We want to live genuinely and authentically. And as we grow, are people growing with us, or are they getting left behind? And if they're getting left behind, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we want to be with people who keep wanting to grow with us and support our growth and development. So I dropped a lot there. There's some really uh heavy sort of energy topics. Does anyone have any question on those before I bounce to the next portion? Because I love these energy frequencies and I love talking with them. I work with them a lot because they really help you understand. Not, if nothing else, you're going to go, you know what, this is the state I'm at. And if anyone would like a copy of what these emotions are that are tied to each of the states, so that in any split second you can go, I'm having this experience, where am I in this? You can just like literally pick it and then go, okay, well, let me see what it would feel like to be here and here and here. In the hypnosis portion, for anyone who's new to hypnosis, here's what I want you to just quickly know. Hypnosis is a state that you go through when you wake up in the morning and when you fall asleep. So it's a natural state. You go through it when you're reading, you go through it when you're watching a movie. It is nothing more than a deep state of relaxation with an acute focus. Hypnosis is not about turning the mind off. So it's not like meditation where you want your mind to be crystal clear and clean and no thoughts coming through. In fact, the goal is not to turn off the mind, it's to use your focus in a way to direct it to certain things, right? We're going to focus the mind on relaxing the body so that the relaxation in turn can allow your attention to move inward and your subconscious mind to organize. So I'm going to guide you through a series of command prompts of what to do. You're still going to have thoughts that come through your mind. Some people are going to have very clear images and visuals. Other people, it's going to be more just, I could imagine doing that. There might be a point as you begin to go into the deeper hypnotic states where it feels like you're not paying attention anymore, where it's like the words just sort of flow through you, where it feels like you're worried you're going to fall asleep. Allow yourself to go into that state where you are just hearing my words drift through your mind. That's where you're opening up the subconscious. You're going from active listening with the conscious mind and processing to subconscious just hearing and the words flowing through you. Um, don't worry if you're doing this right or wrong. I promise there's no doing this right or wrong. There's only doing it. And if you allow yourself to just be in the process, hypnosis will naturally happen. If you fall asleep, then you have gone past the hypnotic states into sleep. Unfortunately, because you're not in front of me, I won't be able to wake you up. But at some point, you will wake up, and you will not wake up in a hypnotic trance like in the office. You will just be awake, and you might just feel a little groggy, and that's it. You're never under my control. You wouldn't do anything you wouldn't want to do. So, without further ado, I am going to invite you to lay back or sit back. If you're sitting, make sure your feet are flat on the ground. Your back is supported. And I'm going to invite you to take a nice, deep cleansing breath and fill up your chest, your nose, everything. Get it nice and tight and hold it. And as you hold it, I want you to feel that tension. And of course, let it go when you're ready to let it go. But I want you to feel how when you fill up, there's that stress on the body. But more importantly, when you relax and when you let your breath out, I want you to feel how your body just collapses. How good that feels to go from this tense and tight place of a full breath to just deeply relaxed. And then what I want you to do is just continue to breathe very normally. Go back to a natural breath. In a moment, your breath is going to become very shallow. And that's normal. Hypnosis is all about a very light breath. And so we're not going to focus on it too much. But I'd like you to, with your eyes closed, direct your attention and your thoughts to the tips of your fingers. And as you think about the tips of your fingers, whether they're resting on a chair or on the floor or on top of your other hand, I'd like you to think about what would it feel like if the tip of each of your fingers had a small circle or a small opening on them where you had the ability to empty out energy and stress and ick and yuck and any emotions and feelings that you just no longer needed right now. And as you think about the tips of the fingers on your left hand and your right, you might feel as you begin to think about the hands that one of them in particular will feel more of these sensations than the other. It might be on the left hand, it might be on the right. In fact, it might be all the fingers, but maybe it's just one or two. However, you experience it, let that begin, that awareness around that to just be there. Now, what's interesting is that as the fingers begin to relax, you might notice a little bit of heat or warmth. It's kind of like you can visualize and or imagine being around a warm fire, what that feels like to put your hands just at a comfortable distance near the fire to warm up, or what it feels like to hold a warm mug of hot tea or coffee. And as you hold that feeling, that thought, and the hands begin to feel heavy, I wonder what it would feel like if the hands were so relaxed that they began to feel heavier and heavier. And as the heavier that they become, that the openings in the tips of the fingers get a little bit wider and they flow a little bit better and they release a little bit more all the way. And as they release, you can imagine that it's just flowing from the arms, right? It's like a water moving like a river out through the body. But as your body releases, you can start to feel the arms from the elbow and the wrist to the shoulder beginning to get heavy too. And if you allow this sensation to get a little bit greater, and you play with the idea of, I wonder what it would be like if my arms removed all stress and that the muscles were so loose and calm that they turned off. And when there's no stress in the arms, they just feel heavy. The arms would have permission to just be there, resting calmly, knowing that in this moment, there's nowhere you need to go. There's nowhere you need to be. And there's nobody wanting or needing anything from you. And it's a beautiful experience to let go of tension because stress and tension are the things that cause pressure. They put an undue burden on the body at times. And we want our body to know that it can relax so deeply. And so, with each gentle breath, you're going to allow the breath to just be very light and you're going to track it through the nose or the mouth into the center of the forehead. Each breath that comes in is going to like tickle the inside of the forehead, that twilighty expanse behind your eyelids. And then you're going to blow that gentle breath very gently and softly out. And as you blow it out, you're going to recognize and know that the air begins to move off into the distance like a ribbon of air, and then it's going to come back. And you're going to move the air again up into the center of the forehead. And each exhale, you're going to sink deeper and deeper down. That rhythm of up and down and away. That it's the down and the way that each muscle gets softer. And we think about turning off the shoulders. Challenge your body of how heavy you can make it feel. Down into the stomach. Continuing to release all the stress out of the body. It just melts away like ice melting on a warm day. Allow yourself to pool into yourself. Allow yourself to know you're exactly where you're meant to be. Allow your legs to relax. Allow your knees to soften. Allow your lower back, all the frustrations we hold on to just surrender. And finally, let's move back up all the way to the tips of your fingers. Just checking in to their calmness, their heaviness, just noticing the tingling sensation or warmth. And then traveling from the tips of your fingers up your arms, right into the center of your forehead. And from the center of your forehead, I'd like you to travel and open the mind. Right in the crown of your head, I'd like you to imagine a zipper or an opening, a door maybe. However you imagine it or visualize it, picture, pretend. Open the portal, open the mind, and imagine that all of your thoughts can begin to lift and rise above you. Swim up into that twilighty expanse behind you or above you. Feel it all around you. You're just energy now. And however you envision your energy, whether it's a color or a light, maybe it's just a thought of energy, maybe it's just clear thinking. Just take note of that. Allow yourself to float and drift and enjoy the freedom, being unconfined and fully free. The universe has asked for you to have a gift. And it's the gift of a compass. This compass almost looks like a pocket watch, or maybe it looks different for you. But inside, instead of having a north and south, east and west, it has a glowing heart. This is the compass for alignment, for intuition. And I'd like you to imagine, visualize what it would be like to hold this compass, to truly know that what you want in life, you can have. That if you can imagine it, you can manifest it. And if you can manifest it, we can begin to believe that there is a way forward, even in the darkness. This compass will guide you through heart energy. So I'd like you to imagine that the energy that you feel in your heart, you could imagine that we could travel down into your heart, where your heart chakra and your heart energy is. That green, emerald green light is a glow, perfectly balanced, swirling energy. And when it glows, because it feels good and it feels right, your compass lights up. And that energy then connects up into your mind, into your head. And as it connects into your head, into your intuition, into your logic, it can help you build a plan to make choices. It glows with a white and pink light. And that makes the compass draw you forward. It's like this energy pull forward. The compass begins to glow like a flashlight, showing you the way, even in the darkness. And it can send this very soothing light down into your gut, a soothing orange and yellow light, so that you can feel very internally settled with the choices that you make. And you can also feel it send a beautiful red energy down through the legs, that you can feel grounded and confident in your decisions, that you can trust. As we travel up through the legs, illuminated in red, moving up back into the heart, right into the throat, a beautiful blue light, a tealy aqua color, so that you have the ability to speak your truth, your wants, your desires. And your mind's third eye, the ability to create. Right there in your mind's third eye, the place we know so well that opens the mind. Now, with this compass, we go back, the visual of it, how it feels to hold, to touch. It is yours to trust, to move forward. You have the ability to ask it questions of what it is you want. What would feel good to move you forward? I invite you to keep this compass with you always, to allow your heart and your head and your body to work together, to travel back down into the mind, closing the portal to the subconscious, but knowing it is always there and available for you. Now we're going to take a nice deep cleansing breath right into the heart and into the head. And then I invite you to go ahead and open your eyes, joining me back here in the room.